Hi friends, welcome to my channel Agri Achievers, a smart way to succeed. We discussed agronomy 4 parts in my previous videos, and this is a part 5 of agronomy which deals with dryland farming. And in this part we discuss about dryland farming and the important questions related to the dryland farming. Let's see what is dryland farming. Growing of crops entirely under rain-fed condition is known as dryland agriculture, and it is called dryland agriculture and dry farming. In dryland agriculture there are and it is dry farming. Cultivation of crops in regions with annual rainfall less than 750 mm. In areas where the rainfall is below 750 mm, in those areas we grow crops is called dry farming. And crop failure is most important due to prolonged dry spells during the crop period. Prolonged dry spells because the rainfall is less, then the moisture availability for the crops also low. So there is a dry spells seen by the crops. And dry land farming. Find the difference here friends, that is dry farming and this is dry land farming. Cultivation of crops in the region with annual rainfall more than 750 mm to 1150 mm. This is called dry land farming. Rain-fed farming is crop production in regions with annual rainfall more than 1150 mm. It is called rain-fed farming. That means rainfall based farming based on the rainfall. And see here, United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific distinguished Asia and the Pacific distinguished dryland agriculture mainly into two categories. Those are dryland and rain-fed farming. See the differences dryland versus rain-fed farming. Here rainfall in dryland farming it is 750 to 1150 mm, and in rain-fed farming it is more than 1150 mm. Moisture availability to the crop in dryland farming is shortage, for rain-fed farming is enough. Growing season for dryland farming is 75 to 120 days, and in rain-fed farming the growing season is more than 120 days. Growing regions in dryland farming, arid and semi-arid areas, as well as uplands of subhumid and humid regions. And rain-fed farming, humid and subhumid regions are the growing regions. And cropping system in dryland farming the cropping system is single crop or intercrop, and in rain-fed farming the cropping system is intercropping or double crop, that means two season crops, kharif and rabi. And constraints for dryland farming is wind and water erosion, and for rain-fed farming it is water erosion only. In this the question arises because each and every point is a question in this paragraph. So we have to go through the entire paragraph very clearly and thoroughly. About 70% of rural population lives in dry farming areas, and their livelihood depends on success or failure of the crops. This is about the strategy of the India, friends. See here in India, 70% of the rural population lives in areas where there is a dry farming is there. And here rain-fed agriculture occupies 67% of net sown area. Net sown area, in net sown area 67% is occupied by rain-fed agriculture, contributing 44% of food grain production and supporting 40% of population. 40% of population is dependent on the rain-fed agriculture. That means if rain comes, then there is agriculture and growing of the crops. If rains are not there, then the growing of the crops is also difficult. And here below there is an image, dryland area in different regions of India. See here the states are given and percentage of rain-fed areas are given. Jammu and Kashmir, Uttaranchal and Himachal Pradesh. These areas are in north areas, and there the rain-fed area is 60 to 81%. Rajasthan and Gujarat were desert area prominently 66 to 88%, and Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu and included Telangana also, where 76 to 82% of area is in the rain-fed agriculture. And see eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa and West Bengal were 33 to 73% only under rain-fed agriculture. Here, see friends, aridity. We know what is arid, and here the word is aridity. What is aridity? Aridity refers to a condition of deficiency of water due to either insufficient precipitation or excess water loss over supply. The term arid is derived from a Latin word aridere, which means dry. See friends, we have to come across the similar word arid, and the meaning of that arid is dry. And dry means deficiency of water. That deficiency may be caused due to many problems: insufficient precipitations, water loss, less rainfall, and there are many things which where the areas become arid. And this aridity is calculated based on different formulas, and majorly Thornwright and Mather formula given in 1955. They have taken the moisture index, which is represented as IM, as the criteria for classification of dry climates. These dry climates are classified based on the moisture index, and the formula is very important friends, because it will be asked in the questions many times, exams many times. That is the formula, which is very important thing. This formula, Im is equal to P minus Pe by Pe whole 100, where P is called as precipitation and Pe is potential evapotranspiration. Okay friends, this formula you have to remember this formula, and this will be asked in the examinations. And based on this formula, that means based on this moisture index, the value which comes from this index, the classified the climate as 100 and above. If this IM value, after the calculation of with this formula, if the IM value gets 100 and above, it is called as per humid. And if it is 20 to 100, it is called as humid. It is 0 to 20, it is called as moist subhumid. Minus 33.3 to 0, dry subhumid. If minus 66.7 to minus 33.3, it is semi-arid, and minus 100 to minus 66.7, it is arid. And here the question arises, the IM quantity is 20 to 100. What is the climate classification according to the Thornwright and Mather? And the options are given below, and you have to choose humid as the correct option, and this is the question which comes from this point. And I have given the small point friends here, because it's related to Thornwright. I given the small point below. ICR, while establishing the dryland centers in different agroclimatic zones of the country in 1970, used the simple formula of Thornwright for estimating the moisture index. This is the point I want to discuss. ICR want to establish dryland centers in different agroclimatic zones in our country in 1977. Based on this Thornwright formula, they calculated the moisture index, and based on that moisture index, they have classified that area is dryland or not, and they established the dryland centers in those areas. This is the classification which was given by the Troll in the year 1965, and he given humid months and climate classification. It is 12 to 9.5, it is tropical rainforest. We came across many times this point, tropical rainforest, where humidity is 12 to 9.5 months. That means, for example, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, where the rainfall is all the time, 12 months or below, 9 to 12 months there will be a rainfall. Like that, humid savanna, it is 9.5 to 7 months, and 7.5 to 4.5 months it is dry savanna, wet and dry sat. 4.5 to 2 months it is thorn savanna, or that is dry sat. 2 to 1 it is semi-desert, and 1 to 0 it is a completely desert arid. Here I have given the point. It is an important point as we talking about dryland, so it is question arises. Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture is located at Hyderabad. It is a question where it is located. CRIDA is located at Hyderabad, Telangana. And on which date it is established? It is established on April 12th, 1985. Here the year is the important. 1985 is very important thing. In 1985, this CRIDA is established. Papadakis. In 1961, Papadakis, based on the moisture index based on precipitation, soil moisture storage and PET was developed. Here this formula is also important. Papadakis. And this is P means monthly precipitation, E means monthly PET, potential evapotranspiration, and W means water stored from previous rainfall. Okay, and Hargreaves 1971 moisture availability index is used for the classification, and again this moisture availability index, which was given in 2019 AFO examination, mains examination. This question arises, and he asked the question like, the average of dependable precipitation, 75% probable rainfall to potential evaporation is called as. He asked this, and the answer is moisture availability index, MI is the answer. And moisture availability index is used for the classification. It is the ratio of dependable precipitations to potential evapotranspiration. It is a measure of adequacy of precipitation in supplying crop water demand. All India Coordinate Research Projects on Dryland Agriculture of ICAR has divided climate into three types based on moisture deficient index, and on which basis MDI we have to confirm this thing, and based on which MDI it is AICRP is All India Coordinate Research Projects was started. And as we said in the history, AICRP was started in 1951 and first crop is maize, right? It was started in 1959. We have to revise that because the point is here. And what is MDI formula? MDI means moisture deficient index. Its formula is P minus PET by PET, and we have to compare this with Thornweight formula, moisture index MI. P minus PET by PET and whole square into 100 is Thornweight formula, and this is MDI where 100 is not there. Similarly like this, and here we see this climate and MDI. If subhumid 0 to 33.3, semi-arid minus 33.3 to 66.6, and arid less than minus 66.6 MDI. Here the question arises, the MDI of the climate is less than minus 66.6, then the climate comes under dash region. We have to set this as arid region. And here the below I have given a tabular form, the climate area and regions. Arid tropics, the area is 31.7 MHA, where Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana, parts of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. And arid temperate means was colder region. We consider temperature as temperate means cold region, and its area is 7 million hectares, where it is Jammu and Kashmir, where is the cold region. Kashmir means cold region. Semi-arid tropics, 95.7 million hectares is the area. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Telangana, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh comes under semi-arid tropics. You have to remember this, friends, because the semi-arid tropics, why it comes, it will be useful later, but we have to remember this at this moment, right? Okay, semi-arid temperate, again temperate, where means colder region, the area is 1.7, again Jammu and Kashmir. This slide is very important slide, friends, because it gives us more information about the more important to get the questions from this slide. Here the slide shows us, see here India map is there. Thar is desert and hot dry and cold dry regions. Here see arid region. Arid, as we studied earlier, what is the meaning of arid, friends? Dry. And where the image shows arid means here Gujarat, and this part shows the Thar desert, where is there is arid region, that means dry region. And semi-arid means less dry, that means optimum dry, and dry subhumid. And here the tabular form is given. Arid region is, that means dry region, is 50.94 mHa, and semi-arid region is 122.52 mHa. Dry sub-region humid is 75.42 million hectares. Total dry land is 248.88 million hectares. See friends, in India, we have an agricultural land of 328.76 million hectares. More than 70% of the land is a dry land. That is 248.88. More than 70% land is a dry land in India. What I have given, this box will never be changed in any year, upcoming years, because the land will not be degraded or land will not be stolen by anything, and so that's why these are the main topics. And here the climate zone, annual rainfall and wet period. The questions came from this. The desert zone less than 100 rainfall is there and 0 to 1 months. Arid zone 100 to 400, 1 to 3 months wet period. Semi-arid 400 to 600 3 to 4 months. Subhumid 600 to 1200 4 to 6 months. Moist subhumid 1200 to 500 6 to 9 months, and humid more than 1500 9 to 12 months. Here the question comes, if the annual rainfall is 600 to 1200 then the climate zone is called dash, and we have to keep the answer as subhumid. And here another type of questions, if the wet period is 9 to 12 months, then the climate zone is called as humid. Like this, different questions came from this tabular form. This is drought. We know that drought means it's a severe condition which we are facing from several years. The Irrigation Commission of India, see friends, Irrigation Commission of India defines, that means drought has many definitions, but the main definition was we consider the Irrigation Commission of India's definition a situation occurring in any area where the annual rainfall is 75% of the less than 75% of the normal rainfall. Right friends, I have explained earlier also and I will explain again. If I have taken some part in Maharashtra, this seems it is the Maharashtra. If the annual rainfall of the Maharashtra is 100 per year, suppose we think that it is an example, and we found that only 70% of the 70 rainfall is there in an year, then this state is considered as a drought state. That is, the definition is given here. And classification of drought based on the duration. Permanent drought, this is a characteristic of the desert climate where sparse vegetation growing in is adapted to drought, and agriculture is possible only by irrigation during entire crop season. Seasonal drought, this is found in climates with well-defined rainy and dry season. Most of the arid and semi-arid zones fall in this category. Contingent drought, this involves an abnormal failure of rainfall. It may occur almost anywhere, especially in most parts of humid or subhumid climates. Here we have listened this new word contingent, which means abnormal failure of rainfall. Okay friends, invisible drought, this can occur even when there is a frequent rain in an area, when rainfall is inadequate to meet the evapotranspiration losses. The result is borderline water deficiency in soil, resulting in less than optimum yield. This occurs usually in humid regions. Here the word itself says invisible, that means the drought is not visible. The rainfall will coming as per the requirement, but they not meet the adequate of evapotranspiration losses, and the drought comes to the region majorly in humid regions. Based on the relevance to the users, National Commission on Agriculture 1976. See friends, here National Commission on Agriculture was started in the year 1976. Based on their relevances to the users, there are meteorological drought. Meteorological drought. Meteorology means which related to the climate. Atmospheric drought, which is when absorption keeps pace with transpiration. The plants review midday wilt. It is called midday wilt. Here the point midday wilt, you have to note this point, midday wilt. What is meant by midday wilt, friends? When absorption keeps pace with transpiration, the plants revive. When absorption keeps pace with transpiration, the plants revive. Hydrological drought, which drought is caused due to the water hydrology. Agricultural drought or soil drought, which means due to the agricultural practices. Effects of drought on crop production. Here the question comes, which of the following is not an effect of drought on crop production? And in the options they give, other than temperature, not temperature, you have to keep the temperature as your option. And you have to remember this also, because they ask, you have to know this, then we can eliminate the temperature from the options. And what are the effects of drought on crop production? Water retentions, photosynthesis, respiration, anatomical changes, metabolic reactions, hormonal relationships, nutrition, growth and development, reproduction and grain growth, yield. These are the adaptations which are adopted by the adaptations means these are the adaptations which are taken by the plant to escape from the drought or during the drought conditions. This is the adaptations of drought. And here drought escape, that means plant escapes from the drought, or drought resistance, plant has survived with the drought. And in this drought resistance there are two types, drought avoidance and drought tolerance. Drought avoidance means water conservation and more water uptake, and drought tolerance means mitigating drought and high tolerance to drought, and we will see in detail. Here the drought avoidance. In drought resistance, I have shown here the drought avoidance. In drought avoidance, they are water spenders and water savers. What are the water spenders? Rooting depth, root shoot ratio, mycorrhiza. They use more water. And water savers, which saves the water by stomatal closures, leaf rollings, leaf epidermis structures. High water use efficiency due to the conservative water use, yield limiting under certain hydrological conditions. And escapes, the plants which escapes from the drought, how they escapes? By early maturity, developmental plasticity, and assimilated remobilization. And the plants which tolerate the drought are by osmotic adjustments, protective solutes, and desiccation tolerate enzymes. By these enzymes they tolerate the drought. Right. Here survival mechanism of xerophytic vegetation. Xerophytes comes under tolerance, drought tolerance. In high stress environments, limited relevance for agricultural crops. There is no relevance for agricultural crops, and agricultural crops do not have this facility. Strategies for drought management. We have to know these strategies also, because the question asks which are the following is not a strategies for drought management. In that they give as multi-cropping, like that option, multiple cropping. Right, that is the wrong option. You have to know the strategies, then you have to eliminate that wrong option. Here, adjusting the plant population, increasing the inter-row distance, increasing the intra-row distance. Inter-row distance means within the plants, and intra-row distance means within the rows. Right, friends? See, inter-row means within the row, within the plants. Intra-row means between the rows. Right? That distance increases, then the competition between the plants is decreases, and the drought management is good. Mid-season corrections. What is mid-season corrections? Here the given the contingent management practices done in the standing crop to overcome the unfavorable soil moisture conditions due to prolonged dry spells are known as mid-season conditions. Thinning, we know that thinning, that the cutting of the aerial parts of the plant, so the diversion of the energy takes place. And spraying is nothing but during the dry conditions we have to spray water on the plants such that the availability of the water will be needed to the plants. And rattoning is nothing but, in examples like sorghum, the ratoons are kept on the field so that the moisture levels, ratoons are worked as mulches, and moisture levels are retained within the soil. And mulching, we know about the mulching. Covering the upper surface of the soil with any material is called as mulching. And weed control, we have to control the weed, because whatever the available water is used by the weed, then the water is not available for the plants. And water harvestings and life saving irrigation. And what are the water harvestings and life saving means, at the particular stage we have to give water to the plant, like in wheat, crown root initiation stage is a life saving irrigation stage in wheat, like that. Thank you friends, like my video and share to your friends and subscribe to my channel.